I'm Nick Seco from HomeRight Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState with Tiny and Katie.
Welcome back to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by HomeRight Windows and Doors, the right choice in Waynesboro, winner of the 2024 Best of the Tri-State. It's Friday. You know what that means. Our good buddy Dan DeDona from localnews1.org here to tell us everything that's happening in the community and things we can do this weekend.
Okay, well, to kick it off, 5 things to do this weekend is it's a big list. It seems like everybody has discovered spring, so they've got all their spring activities going on.
Well, it's feeling like it for sure.
There's going to be the Fountain Festivals taking place in downtown Chambersburg today. And that will be going through Sunday. It kicks off this evening with amusement attractions and food trucks. On Saturday, there will be 35 food trucks, a beer garden, amusement rides, entertainment, and a bunch of retail vendors. So that's going to be a busy day. And then Sunday will be the same food trucks, entertainment, and more amusement attractions. It's presented by Shoemakers Insurance and Financial Services. So that'll be a busy day. In downtown Waynesboro, not to be outdone, they are doing Saturday and Sunday, but they seem to have packed in even more. All kinds of community events. Let's see, there'll be indoor farmers market, an Earth Celebration Day, and a recycling fundraiser at Pine Hill Recreation Area. That's actually just outside of Waynesboro, but it's along Menser Gap Road. And Destination Jazz is going to have a jazz combo at the Waynesboro Area High School. On Sunday, they're bringing the 7th annual Downtown Food Stroll. You can sign up for tickets for that. 16 different local eateries, and enjoy live music all day long. This is all presented by the Arts Alliance of Greater Waynesboro, Buttonwood Nature Center, and Main Street Waynesboro. Okay, third item. Antrim Spring Farm is holding its first, numero uno, annual Spring Fest in Greencastle on Saturday. They're offering a free family-friendly event with barbecue, live music, and local craft vendors. Some of the folks who are going to be represented are Sweet Dreams Barbecue, Antietam Dairy, and Tag Along Coffee Company. There will also be a lot of goods to be browsed from artisans such as 10,000 Villages, Livin' to Die, DYE, Refined Design, and others. Begins at 10 a.m. Fourth, in Main Street, Boonesboro, a little bit to the south of our regular coverage area, but they're coming alive on Saturday with their annual Spring Jubilee. A day full of live music, local food, family-friendly activities. Pathfinder's Distillery on Friday is going to be providing beverages and spring cocktails and local beers. The Chicken Wing Boys are going to be serving up a variety of crowd-pleasing different kinds of wings. Let's see, that's all from 1 to 3 p.m. Let's see, on Sunday, We're also on Saturday, Turn of the Page is going to be hosting a children's book signing. Talon Studio is offering 20% off select items, and the Washington County Antique Tractor Club is providing free tractor rides from 11 a.m. to 3. Let's see. And there's more. Check us out on the website. It goes on. Finally, visitors to Frederick State Park can step back in time for the 29th annual 18th Century Market Fair. There'll be more than 150 different artisans and reenactors. Vendors will fill the historic grounds with period crafts, encampments, and local history demonstrations. If you've never had an opportunity to participate in local history, these folks work really hard throughout the year to understand how one spoke, how one behaved, what kinds of things were commonly available at that time. So if you ask them a question about anything, they will tell you from the perspective of somebody from years and years ago, whatever it is they're reenacting. And in this particular case, it's 18th century market in the Frederick area. So it's going to be held at 11100 11,100 Fort Frederick Road in Big Pool. It features a lot of pottery being sold, tinware, clothing, books, muskets. For those of you who've lost your musket, want to replace it, blanket trading, and colonial era entertainment. That actually runs Thursday through this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, $2 for children, 6 to 12, and free for children under 5. So quite a bit. Seems like all the local communities are breaking out their usual activities to get the spring rolling.
I just hope that the weather cooperates tomorrow in particular. Sunday, I think we're clear, but tomorrow we're supposed to see rain, thunderstorms, and I think everybody has a little bit of anxiety when they hear thunderstorms now after the micro, what is it called, a microburst?
Microburst.
Yeah, that was really scary.
Well, as it turns out, that's exactly what I was going to lead with here on Stories from the Past Week, because Mother Nature took center stage on the 19th of April, the day before Easter. And big storm that impacted a pretty large area. I mean, it was all the way down in Frederick, all the way north to Chambersburg, and a lot of places in between. Awful lot of trees uprooted. I saw telephone poles that were broken at about the 10 or 15 foot point up. Just too much load. They said a lot of trees simply came up by their roots. There was a pine tree right directly across from my house, a very old one.
What town was that?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, I live out in Washington Township.
Okay.
And the whole tree just tipped over, and you can see the entire root system. Well, poles and things like that don't have a root system, so if the ground doesn't give way, the poles just snap off at about 10 or 15 feet up. There are other places where trees had fallen across power lines. It was really pretty much of a mess.
Yeah, it was.
Got a really good report from an awful lot of sources about the community response to all of this. There was one report about being able to hear chainsaws well after midnight on Saturday night, clearing roads and whatnot. There were thousands of 911 calls, as you might suspect. There was a 200-year-old oak tree in Hagerstown that came down. Potomac Edison and West Penn Power were both engaged. They brought in extra crews from outside of the immediate area.
Yeah, they did a great job.
And the power was Washington County has made special provisions to put additional dumpsters and things of that sort out, so that as you're trying to clear your yard, you got some place where that stuff can go, and they're ready for a little bulk up in terms of taking material away. The power was out for about 40,000 people in the local area. It lasted 1 to 2 days. We got some guidelines, some suggestions from the 911 folks. Probably the most important one was, if you see something, please only have one member of your family report it. They really don't need multiple reports, and they're going to get it from other families, but they don't need 2 or 3 from your family to say just one will do. In addition, in general, when there's a tree down, take a look to see whether or not the road is completely impassable or not. If it's completely impassable, then by all means,
Yes.
call 911. Get people out there. The objective in the early part of anything like this is to at least open one lane of traffic so people can get by, and then they'll come back a little later after they've got most of the traffic moving, and they'll clear out the rest of it. But so that was the second point. And please don't call them for power. If your power goes out, 911 is not the people to call. You need to call your power company. But there are people that just desperately call 911 for everything. So giving a little thought to that is very helpful. And not to let fires go completely unremarked. In Southampton Township, which is just a little bit north and west of Shippensburg, or east of Shippensburg, there was about a 200-acre burn that took place. Just a reminder that even though from time to time a thunderstorm might come through, things get a little wet, it doesn't necessarily mean that the burnable material in the area won't burn if you set it afire. So they were dealing with that. They thought they had it contained at one point. That was on the 24th, I think it was, just yesterday. They thought they had it contained, and then they didn't. So they're still working on that. Okay, in other news, PennDOT. We had a story last week about, all right, now, double check me here. Conococheague.
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 Conococheague Creek.
Conococheague, okay. Conococheague Creek.
Yes.
Apparently has more than one bridge. There's one that we reported on last week that's going to be renovated in the state of Maryland on Route 40. This week we have a report on a similar bridge named exactly the same thing.
What is it named?
Conococheague.
Good job.
Okay. Just had to dig that. Okay. So that same bridge, Conococheague.
Conococheague.
Okay. That is also going to be restored, but this is going to be restored by PennDOT. They have plans available online. Take a look at localnews1.org, take a look at the story, and there's lots of connections. You can bring up the plans and whatnot. They're not at the same point as they were on the Maryland side, where they're more concerned about getting public input for immediate traffic problems, because they're going to be starting soon. This one is going to be, it's going to remain open. There'll be at least one lane worth of traffic they can get by at all times. And they hope to get to that in spring of 2027. So they're trying to get way out ahead of it. In Franklin County, $39.5 million was the county's share of the state highway budget, which was $402 million total. That included a few things we reported on before: the I-81 resurfacing out by Greencastle, the twin roundabouts in Washington Township that will connect up with Washington Township Boulevard, and a number of other bridge replacements and resurfacing actions will be taking place. So more on that in the future. In Hagerstown, actually the headline was they're looking at a 5.5% increase in taxes. Now, the story is actually substantially more involved than that. Very recently, they had a $16.4 million budget deficit in their 2026 budget. So they had to make a number of tax cuts or possibly consider tax increases. Well, they managed to do it all with cuts. They got rid of all $16.4 million of that deficit and actually ended up with a $7,900 surplus. At least that's going into the year before you actually have to start spending money. But they're also looking at increased costs. And just so you understand how it fits, this year's budget, or excuse me, 2026's budget is $71.4 million total, but only $62.7 million of that is actually covered by revenues, routine revenues. That left $4.1 million that if they don't, would otherwise have to be taking out of existing funds that they have in banks or securities or whatnot. So that's why they're so concerned about looking at the increasing prices of everything that they buy to take care of roads and water and sewer and all the rest of the things that they're responsible for. And of course, wages are going up, as you would expect. So more to follow on that. But the main point on that, though, is they haven't raised taxes by 5.5%. They're simply putting them on the table. They want everybody to understand, there's only so much in the way of routine services that they can cut, and then they have to start looking to actually pay for the absolute minimum or something fairly close to the absolute minimum. So more on that in the future. In Hagerstown, the new field house. Good news for Hagerstown. They got a new field house. We reported on that a couple of months ago.
It's doing really well.
It's doing well.
Good start.
62,000 people have shown up to participate in activities in the first 66 days. Call it 2 months. They've had leagues. They've had tournaments. They've got many more scheduled, and people are coming from anywhere from as far away as 30 to 50 miles away. They're having problems with the new turf, and of course parking is inevitably a problem, so they're trying to make arrangements with anybody with a parking lot or a vacant lot anywhere near the facility. So this is probably a good time to get in and get a good deal for the use of your property if you're not using it for anything else. Signs of success. It's a pretty good story for that. Let's see. Chad Reichert of the 90th Legislative District is making his office available to help out the folks that we reported on last week at Corel
Brand. They're closing down,
that are going to be closing down. 323 people are involved in that. What he's doing is he's making his office available to help people to identify state resources that are available to all of these people, so that they'll have they can plan out what they're going to do when these jobs go away and when they're actually laid off. So that's a good. You don't necessarily see that a lot in local representatives actually
stepping in to help out.
Actually stepping in.
Yeah.
He's only got a small office, so it's not like he can.
When does that close down, Corel Brands? Or has it already?
Well, no. Here it has not. I closed off another location in Pennsylvania. I reported on it last week. I didn't bring it with me, but it's phased in over three increments. I think it's starting in June or July and going through November. So it doesn't happen all at once.
Right.
So it's kind of spread out. Hopefully that'll help people better adjust and relocate. In Chambersburg, Green Light Networks is launching some additional fiber. It's going to be coming this summer. They're featuring 8 gigabit speed, minimum of 500 megabits baseline, or megabits baseline. $45 a month was the baseline price that they were suggesting for that. PennDOT is also stepping in. We reported on this again last week, but on the 7th of May, you require some serious kind of identification to be able to get on airlines and whatnot. So Real ID is something that a lot of people, now you can also do this with a military ID card.
Passport. Passport
is the other thing. So if you have either of those two, that will also work. But if you don't want to be dragging your passport around with you, that's not necessarily a good idea. Real ID is probably the way to go. They have 57 driver's license centers in Pennsylvania, and all 57 of them are going to be available on the 28th of April. That would be Monday?
Yeah.
Monday. All 57 of them open for that day. In previous events like this, they managed to serve 40,000 people.
I'm just thinking, I wonder if I should get my real. I'm not going to be here on Monday.
Before you go on vacation?
I have my passport. And I always use my passport because I like the stamps.
Oh, okay.
I love the stamps, yes.
Stamps from
all the places I've been. I'm a big traveler.
Extraordinary places like Boonesboro.
Right, exactly, yes. When I go to Washington County, I'm like, hey, stamp me.
Rousers.
Yeah, you know it.
All the big ones. Okay. Waynesboro Theater is actually getting a new stage. This is kind of a good idea. Those of you who don't know, the Waynesboro Theater has got a very, very, very old tradition. It used to be an arcade that was one of the largest venues on the East Coast. And then it got old, they tore it down, they put in a movie theater, and then 5 or 6 years ago, I'm probably wrong on the exact date, but 5 or 6 years ago, they completely renovated the theater, and they put in digital projectors, and it's very, very nice right now. And they tend to use, it's a combination of new releases and older movies. It's not unlike what they're doing over at the Leitersburg cinemas, because it's warehouse now. But so there's a mix of different kinds of entertainment. So they're putting in a new theater, and this is a good idea because they can also use the same venue for live rock bands or what have you.
Maybe even events, private events.
Or private events. Have a number of them scheduled. It's interesting how they went about doing this, though. They got Rebuilders Unlimited to actually build the stages for them in 2 pieces. And then they got a local moving company to bring the 2 pieces together, and then some local welders welded the pieces and the legs on where appropriate. And so the whole thing, probably not all of it was done simply with in-kind contributions, but it's pretty nice when the community, you start asking around, the community says, yeah, it seems like a good thing to do. So they just contribute a little bit of their time and effort, and it's more of a small town thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than a big city thing, but it's very nice.
We might have to start getting to the thought of the day. You want to do one more story, and then we can get to the thought of the day?
I'll tell you what. Let me really quickly cover people. There's the Washington County Teacher of the Year was presented to Marjorie Chapman.
That's so exciting.
That's good. Randall Leatherman has joined the Washington County Commissioners because Wayne Kiefer resigned for family reasons in March. And in Chambersburg, there's this volleyball team at the Wilson men's volleyball team that got 6 awards for the 2025 United East All Conference teams. They got 1 first-team guy, Jackson Wolf. 2 first-team guys, Jackson Wolf and Jacob McCoy. They got, second team was Demetrius Simmons, Shatvik Sharma, and Ray Kuntz. And they got a 3rd team fella on there, Camden Sterner. Wolf, who was a first-team guy, also got Rookie of the Year for this year. And Aaron Hoke also got Coach of the Year. So that's one heck of a team. The reason I really wanted to go through all that, I apologize for taking a little more time, but the reason I wanted to go through that was this is a pretty exceptional team. When you get that many players all on the same team that are getting those kinds of awards for their performance.
They deserve the recognition, absolutely.
All right. There's a lot of other things that we could go through. There's health, there's entertainment, there's all kinds of school news, including some community grants that are available for a number of purposes. Sports, entertainment, history. Local News 1 is growing to be your first stop for local news. And I'm sure you can find it by going around to 15 or 20 of your favorite social media sites, but we aim to be your first stop to find all the things that are going on in the local area. So for $4.99 a month, that's what it costs. Thought of the day. Many people who wanted to be a banker when they were younger eventually lost interest.
Something to account for.
Yes.
What else do I have? Makes sense.
Makes sense?
Yeah. I'll bill you later for something. That's about all I think I'm tapped out on that. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah. Very good. Localnews1.org. We'll talk to you again next Friday. It's Let's Talk Tri-State.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.